59 years, I didn't think about aging. But lately, it's been on my mind a lot. I'm Kathy Robinson. And the reason why I've been thinking about aging, I don't feel like the 60-year-old that I am. I feel so far removed from the senior citizen I'm about to become in a few years. And that got me curious. We can't stop the aging process, but we can age well and actively. So today, we'll take a look at how to invest in our future, what it means to live vibrantly in our 50s, 60s, and beyond, how we can change the aging paradigm, and specific lifestyle actions that you can take to continue to live with vitality. Aging has long been associated with decline and dependency. And that's because the conventional models that we have are based on inactive sedentary lifestyles that lead to frailness and diminishing capacities. But it doesn't have to be this way. Case in point, my father died last year, a few months short of his 102nd birthday. Now, you may have an image in your head of what this elderly man might look like, but he was often mistaken for a man in his 80s even after he turned 100. He was a rock star at his retirement home, and he stayed active and engaged until his passing. When I share this story, people tell me I must have good genes. But my father's mother died from a brain aneurysm in her 40s, and his father died of heart disease in his early 50s. My dad outlived his parents by more than 50 years. And it set him apart from his peers. His community was filled with people, some 2 or 3 decades younger, who had to rely on walkers and wheelchairs to get around, while he was striding ahead to hold the door for them. So, how did he do it? It was his lifestyle choices. He was a man of moderation, and those choices have shaped my own wellness practices and the work I do today. So, just like my father, we can live longer, stay engaged, and contribute for many years to come. But how do we invest in our well being for the long term? First, let's take a look at what it means to live vibrantly in midlife and beyond. I have to state for the record that it took me a while to follow in my dad's footsteps. I started my career on Wall Street, and let's just say I followed the mantra at that time of work hard, play hard. That lasted until that lifestyle began taking its toll when I was in my mid 30s. I was sitting behind a desk at a high pressure job, gaining weight, and becoming unhealthier by the day. And that's when I made the decision to change my lifestyle habits. Fast forward a few decades to earlier this year, I'm about to take a big hiking trip in the Canadian Rockies. And I thought it would be a good idea to get a checkup before I went because I was going to be so remote that if anything happened, I'd need to get medevaced out. So I made an appointment with a new physician who was recommended by a friend. I filled out the paperwork and the barrage of tests began. All the necessary samples collected along with a bone density test and an EKG. And the doctor, who I had never met before, walked in and summed up his medical opinion in 4 words: "You're bad for business." What he meant was there are no drugs to prescribe and no further tests to schedule. I share that story to let you know that even if you've played hard, as I have in the past, the investments that you make in your wellness do pay off. There's no shaming here. Meet yourself where you are and celebrate any investment that you're willing to make. There's no one right way to do this, only the right way for you. So, how do you want to live? My guess is that you'd like to age actively instead of sedentary. And there's a simple process we'll talk about to work toward that wellness intention. We'll look at your options and how to create a strategic portfolio approach to your wellness. We'll identify the specific lifestyle actions that you can take to increase your vitality. And we'll build in a periodic review so you can assess the effectiveness of your investment and then make adjustments to increase your enjoyment. Because if it's not fun, chances are it won't be sustainable. Much like investing your money for retirement, you can think of your life as an investment portfolio. Just as you like to diversify your assets, you can diversify your well being by investing in various areas of your life. So let's build your personal wellness investment portfolio, starting with your wellness investment options. Here are four categories to consider and specific areas that you can incorporate into your wellness portfolio. The first is the physical. This includes nutrition, movement, mobility, balance, flexibility, strength, endurance, breath capacity, and sleep. Of these areas, what's the most pressing one that you can give some love to? The second is mental. This includes cognitive function, stress management, financial well being, life engagement, opportunities for growth, and your overall mood. How can you best keep yourself functioning, exploring, and optimistic? The third is social. This includes family, friends, and colleagues, emotional well being, purpose, and community. What role would you like to play in your social structure that would bring value? And the fourth is spiritual. This includes connection to something greater than yourself, such as faith, flow, creativity, possibility, and our natural world. How can you reinforce your inner peace and connection to the greater universe? That may seem like an overwhelming menu of options and a lot to incorporate into your already busy days, but here's a pro tip. You can cover the areas that are most important to you by focusing on a few activities. Let me give you an example. During my last years in corporate, my main wellness activities were long distance endurance sports, such as biking and running. I also focused on sports nutrition to keep me fueled appropriately and a brief meditation I did first thing in the morning. For me at that time, it covered all four areas. The physical element is obvious, but being out on the trails gave me a mental break and an audacious growth goal to bike 300 miles or to run a 50K. Socially, it connected me with new friends who had similar interests. And being out in nature and my morning meditations connected me to something beyond myself that inspired me with possibility. Today, my wellness activities have shifted. I no longer need endurance sports to reduce my stress. Now I focus on activities that encourage strength, flexibility, and balance, such as CrossFit, kickboxing, and hiking. And I no longer train for events. Instead, I make fitness dates with my friends. In addition, I love taking long walks in nature, and my morning meditation is still a daily connection to the spiritual and natural worlds. So you can see with my example, a few intentional activities that you enjoy can check a lot of wellness boxes and easily be incorporated into your day, even as your life shifts. Now that you know your options, it's time to create a diversified strategy by considering the investment opportunities that would make the most impact. Where would you like to make deposits today that will serve you now and pay off in the future in the form of increased quality of life? Here's how I created my wellness investment strategy when I was in my 30s. I simply asked myself three questions. One, of the four areas of physical, mental, social, and spiritual, what is most urgent? The answer for me at the time was clear: my physical health. You can simply think of the answer to this question as your what. The second question was, by making an investment in my physical health, what impact would that have on my life? The answer touches more than just the physical category. My overall well being benefited with more energy, focus, and the increased confidence that comes with looking and feeling better. You can simply think of the answer to this question as your why. The third question was, given my current circumstance, what investment is feasible? I didn't have the physical capacity to run an ultra marathon like I did a few years ago when I was in my 30s. So I selected a popular program at the time called Body for Life. It was a book by Bill Phillips that you can still buy today, and it uses a combination of strength, cardio, and nutrition for beginners, which was very effective for me. You can simply think of the answer to this question as your how. Once you have your what, why, and how, it's time to take action and create an investment plan. Create a schedule that invests your time appropriately. You can think of this step as your when. Using my Body for Life example from my 30s, I had to determine when I would A, get my workouts in, and B, prepare my meals for the week. At the time, my partner and I commuted into Manhattan and left New Jersey each morning before 6:30 a.m. That meant I was either on the treadmill or weight bench at 5 a.m. We went food shopping on Saturdays and prepared our meals for the week on Sundays. Once the essentials are set up and your investment action plan is scheduled, then you monitor your progress. I suggest following your plan for 90 days. In my case, the Body for Life book is a 12-week program that came with tracking sheets, so it made it easy for me all those years ago. I still track my progress today using a combination of my calendar and simple logs, both manual and digital. Find something that easily works for you. After 3 months and then every quarter after that, check in with yourself. Take a look at your efforts. Are your investments paying off? I was working at Citibank in 1999 when I did the Body for Life program. About 8 weeks in, my colleagues began asking what I was doing because they could see the change in my body. Even so, I kept track and stuck to the program for years. So create a process that you can work with for the foreseeable future. At some point, you may find yourself plateauing or less enthused with your wellness investment choices. That's when you rebalance your portfolio. Your life, body, and interests will change. Keep your wellness portfolio balanced with the intention of long-term sustainability. Adjust your plan as needed while making consistent deposits into your account. The wonderful thing about this investment approach is you get to enjoy the rewards today and in the future. It's a win-win all around. As we wrap up, I'd like to share a few words on something that acts like compounding interest, and that's a positive mindset, the foundation of active aging. Another dad story. In the 1930s, my father was a state champion gymnast. An injury prevented him from pursuing his dream beyond high school. In fact, I never saw him step foot in a gym, ever. Even so, his identity was that of a champion gymnast. How he carried himself, how he cared for himself, and how he flashed his skills from time to time on a chin-up bar or off a diving board when we were on vacation or in someone's backyard. And even in his late 80s, it's what drove him to become the oldest person to scale a rock climbing wall twice while enjoying a cruise with my mom. When we approach life with optimism and that kind of a can do attitude, we can reframe the challenges of aging as opportunities for discovery and growth. By cultivating a positive outlook, we can reduce stress, improve our mood, and amplify the effect of our wellness actions. You may even be inspired to challenge yourself to step outside of your comfort zone, reaching beyond what you think is possible today. It's never too late to start investing in your well being. By taking small, consistent steps, you're making deposits into your future self. These investments will pay dividends for years to come in the form of improved health, increased energy, and greater happiness. As author Michael Easter reminds us, most people today rarely step outside of their comfort zones. By challenging yourself and embracing new experiences and adventures, you're not just investing in your health and happiness, you're compounding your potential to live a life that's truly extraordinary. Until next time, be well.